10 environmental disasters caused by humans. Number 10. Dust Bowl. The Dust Bowl was an ecological disaster that occurred in the 1930s in the United States. It was caused by severe drought and high winds that resulted in massive dust storms. But the real culprit was human activity. It happens when sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides are released into the atmosphere and then react with water, oxygen, and other substances to form sulfuric and nitric acid. This acid then falls to the ground in the form of rain, snow, fog, or even dry particles. This leads to the loss of trees and the habitat they provide for animals. It also releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which contributes to climate change. It's a natural process that occurs everywhere on Earth, but it can be accelerated by human activity. When soil is eroded, it loses its fertility and becomes less able to support plant life. They can have a devastating impact on wildlife, the environment, and the economy. But the good news is that we have the technology and the know-how to prevent oil spills from happening in the first place. One way we can do this is by investing in renewable energy sources like solar and wind power. That way we'll be less reliant on fossil fuels, and the risk of oil spills will decrease. Another thing we can do is improve safety standards for oil companies. Right now, many of these companies cut corners to save money, which puts workers and the environment at risk. If we hold these companies accountable and make sure they follow safety protocols, we can significantly reduce the chances of an oil spill. Finally, we need to be better prepared to respond to oil spills when they do happen. Right now, many coastal communities are woefully unprepared for an oil spill, which means that the damage is often much worse than it needs to be. If we invest in better response systems, we can minimize the impact of oil spills and protect the environment. This can lead to desertification, which is the process by which fertile land becomes desert, and precipitation levels that has the potential to impact weather extremes and, in turn, the probability of certain natural disasters. But it's not just the weather that's changing. The entire climate system is changing, which affects everything on Earth. While the climate has changed naturally throughout history, since the Industrial Revolution, human activities have been the main driver of climate change. As we burn fossil fuels, cut down forests, and farm the land, we're releasing more carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. These gases trap heat on Earth, which is causing our planet to warm. And while a little extra heat might sound nice during the winter, it's really not. Global warming is already having a major impact on our planet. It's causing rising sea levels, more extreme weather events, and disruptions to the balance of nature. And if we don't act now, it will get much worse. Global warming is a problem that we created, but it's also a problem that we can solve. By making changes to the way we live, we can slow down or even stop global warming. It won't be easy, but it's up to us to protect our planet for future generations. Human activity is the main cause of soil erosion. We clear forests and grasslands for agriculture and urban development. We also disturb the soil when we farm or mine. And we sometimes introduce invasive species that compete with native plants for resources. All of these activities can lead to soil erosion. Soil erosion is a serious problem because it degrades the quality of our soil and makes it harder to grow food. It also causes sedimentation in our waterways, which can harm aquatic life. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, soil erosion is responsible for about 10% of global crop losses. Human activity is the main cause of deforestation. We cut down trees for a variety of reasons, such as to create farmland, to build houses, and to produce paper. Every year we generate about 2 billion tons of solid waste, and that's just the stuff we can see. There's also an estimated 500 billion plastic straws floating around in the ocean. But where does all this waste come from? The answer, unfortunately, is us. Humans generate waste every day, whether it's from the food we eat, the clothes we wear, or the products we buy. And as our population grows and our economy expands, so does our waste. In 2050, we're on track to generate more than 3.4 billion tons of solid waste each year. But what happens to all this waste? Well, some of it is recycled, but most of it ends up in landfills. In the United States alone, there are more than 3,000 active landfills. And they're not exactly the most attractive places in the country. They're often located in low-income communities, and they can be a source of pollution. But the bigger problem is what happens when the landfills are full. At some point, we're going to run out of space. And when that happens, our only option will be to ship our waste even farther away. But that's not a sustainable solution. Eventually, we'll run out of places to put our waste. And when that happens, things could get ugly. Some experts predict that in the future, we could see waste wars. As different countries and communities fight over where to put their trash, that's why it's so important that we start reducing our waste today. We can't afford to keep living the way we are. If we do, we're headed for a big disaster. We also clear forests for timber, fuel, and mining. The problem is that we are clearing forests much faster than they can grow back. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, we lose about 10 million hectares of forests each year. That's an area the size of Greece. The consequences of deforestation are dire. Forests are home to 80% of the world's terrestrial biodiversity. When forests are cleared, animals lose their habitat, and many species end up extinct. Deforestation also contributes to climate change. Trees absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, so when they're cut down, that carbon is released back into the atmosphere. According to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, deforestation accounts for about 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Acid rain can have a devastating impact on the environment. This depletes the fish population and can lead to the collapse of fisheries. The main cause of overfishing is, you guessed it, human activity. We fish for a variety of reasons, such as to eat, to sell, or to use as bait. We also fish for sport or to control the fish population. The problem is that we are fishing for too many fish, too often. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, 77% of the world's fish stocks are fully exploited or overfished. This means that fish populations are being depleted and some species could go extinct. The consequences of overfishing are serious. When fish populations collapse, fishermen lose their livelihoods. Coastal communities also suffer because they rely on fish as a source of protein and income. It can kill fish and other aquatic life, damage forests and crops, and even contribute to the formation of smog. But the worst part is that acid rain is caused by human activity. The burning of fossil fuels in power plants and factories is the main cause of acid rain. But it's not the only one. The exhaust from our cars also contributes to the problem. And even our homes and appliances can release small amounts of pollutants that end up in the air we breathe and the water we drink. We all have a role to play in preventing acid rain. We need to reduce our consumption of energy, switch to renewable sources of energy, and hold polluters accountable. If we don't take action now, acid rain will continue to damage our environment and our health. Poor farming practices such as overplowing and the planting of non-native crops led to the loss of topsoil and vegetation, which turned the Great Plains into a dust bowl. This is important because ultraviolet radiation can cause cancer and other health problems. The ozone layer is not a recent discovery. Scientists have been aware of it since the 19th century, but it was not until the 1980s that they realized that human activities were causing a hole in the ozone layer. Man-made chemicals, such as chlorofluorocarbons, are the main culprits. These chemicals are used in a variety of products, including refrigerators, air conditioners, and aerosols. When these products are released into the atmosphere, the chemicals break down and release chlorine atoms. These chlorine atoms go on to destroy ozone molecules, which weakens the ozone layer. The hole in the ozone layer is a serious problem. It allows harmful, ultraviolet radiation to reach the Earth's surface, which can cause cancer and other health problems. It can also disrupt the climate and weather patterns. Fortunately, we are taking steps to protect the ozone layer. In 1987, countries around the world signed the Montreal Protocol to phase out the production of ozone-depleting substances. As a result, the hole in the ozone layer is slowly but surely healing. The storms caused widespread damage to property and to public health. And it is estimated that about 500,000 people had to abandon their homes and leave the affected areas. But it was also a major environmental disaster. The dust storms carried away huge amounts of soil and deposited them elsewhere in the country, causing major changes to the landscape. Today, the Dust Bowl serves as a reminder of the importance of sustainable land management practices. Without them, we could see another Dust Bowl again. 9. Lake Natron. Lake Natron is a large, shallow lake in Tanzania, Africa. It has a high concentration of sodium carbonate, and is highly alkaline with a pH of around 9.5. This makes it very dangerous for most living things, including humans. If you swim in its waters, your skin can burn off, but it's especially dangerous for birds. The alkaline water can burn their feet, and they often get stuck in the mud and die. Every year, thousands of flamingos and other birds die at Lake Natron. In recent years, however, the situation has become even worse. The water level has risen dramatically, causing even more birds to die. The reason for this is human activity. As we have built more dams and diverted more water from rivers, Lake Natron has received less water than it used to. This has caused the water level to drop and the salinity to increase. The higher salinity means that even more water is needed to maintain the same level of alkalinity. So the water is becoming more and more alkaline, and more birds are dying. Number 8. Acid rain. Acid rain is a serious environmental problem that has been caused by human activity. Number 7. Hole in the ozone layer. The ozone layer is a region of Earth's stratosphere that absorbs most of the sun's ultraviolet radiation. Number 6. Deforestation. Deforestation is a serious environmental problem that occurs when forests are cut down at a faster rate than they can regenerate. No. 5. Overfishing. Overfishing is a serious problem that occurs when fish are caught at a faster rate than they can reproduce. Number 4. Soil erosion. Soil erosion is the process by which soil is moved from one place to another by wind or water. Number 3. Waste. Our planet is drowning in waste. Number 2. Oil spills. Oil spills are a major environmental disaster that occur when oil is released into the environment, usually as a result of human activity. Number 1. Climate change. Climate change is a long-term shift in average weather patterns, including temperature. Thank you for watching.